So hello, it's Pluto Man here once again. I'm just about to show you what happened in a no limit single draw tournament that I played on Sunday. This is part of the Micro Millions marathon. Lots of M's there, aren't there? And played a few, like half a dozen of those tournaments. Very interesting, some of it. Not that I did particularly well. uh, there was five card draw. There was Big O, which was '08 PL08 with five cards, which was kind of fun. There was Horse. Actually, Horse I think was the most fun. That was Hold'em, '08, Raz, Stud High, and then Stud High Low. So basically the pentathlon of poker, all limit games. So playing Limit Hold'em was the first time I'd done that for a while. So it's kind of interesting. But here I'm playing No Limit Single Draw. And let's see what happened here. So I've got a sort of a mid position. I've got a bad 10. I raise it up. There's a limper there. I'm also playing five card draw here, about two and a half times what I started with. I'm sort of just under halfway, just in the bottom half of those who remain, which are, the vast majority are already out. Um, and I'm also playing '08. I've got a really made a really crappy start to that tournament. So what happens there? I I just pat. You managed to hit your one card draw, make a nine, a rough nine, and you missed your two card draw by the looks of things. So against that lot, I think I was doing pretty well. But let's see. I obviously had the a good chunk of equity here. So I haven't got the sound from. I didn't really commentate, apart from occasionally I would commentate, sort of. So this was interesting, right? So that hand, this. So actually, this is on the five card draw. I've actually got a kind of straight flush draw here, but back to the single draw, and I actually want him to get it when he does get it all in, and I get it in as a favourite, and with my 10-8-5-3-2, I had actually 71% against his draw. So I was quite a big favourite there, actually. A made 10 is actually generally kind of a 2 to 1 on average favourite, maybe slightly more against a one card draw. It all depends on precisely what cards you have. I mean, the fact that if it hit a 10 there, I would have still won. So that was kind of interesting. So, do I hit my flush or my straight, or straight flush even? No is the answer to that, and I just have to fold post because I've got absolutely nothing. That's five card draw. It's kind of a little bit confusing playing them at the same time. Now I've got another rough 10, sorry. Again, there's a limper. And I get called. Don't discard. And I win that one as well, right? So, kind of starting okay. Just let this one go. Yeah. Now you're getting some commentary.
Pat 9 here.
I said I've pat 9. I don't have a pat 9. I have a pat 10.
Um,
So let's see what happens.
Shoves, what do I do? Take it back. I lose. Hey, bugger. Yeah, it's always the possibility. We do. We got. It is a favourite. Raise is a favourite. That's all you can do. All you
This
can
one was
possibly do.
this was interesting. My commentary's interesting here.
Can't do any more than that. And then, oh, for fuck's sake. I call here. Big raise, though, isn't it, to be honest? We'll probably fold. The fact that I actually raised myself. If you call, then there's dead money, I'll call too. Okay, now I'll call. Whoa, that's just insane. Don't tell me you've hit. Oh, I'm going to call you. Oh, for fuck's sake, you muppet! Oh.
Now, so that was interesting. You got my commentary there. For fuck's sake, you muppet. Well, now, if you go back to what we had, so you had a 2-card draw, I had a 1-card draw to a 9, a smooth 9, and you, I think, now I didn't show it, but you actually, I think, were pat with some sort of 98 there. So you got crippled there. You really got the rough end of it there. You had about 61% equity 3-way. I had about 30%, so I certainly had enough to call there. And then you had only about 9%, right? So you only had about a 9% chance of ending up with the best hand. So you had to beat him and you had to beat me. And that's exactly what he did. So, but that was terrible play. But he got rewarded for his terrible play. Now I've got to draw to a 7. It's a rough, but it's not rough. Rough 7 doesn't exist. It's got a gut shot, right? So it's not ideal. So I had to just call here. And how bad would like getting it all in be? Probably quite bad, actually, I'm guessing. The gut shot. Hit a jack. It's going to be good more than half the time there. It's going to be really difficult to call a bet, though, wouldn't it? Unless I have some read on him. So I'm kind of lucky. Being out of position is horrible. Now I've got a jack this time. So I don't have a lot of stack, do I? I lost about half my stack there. At one point, so I'm struggling a little bit. You can see 4-4-4 out of 505, and that is after winning that little pot there too. So I was right sort of up against it at the beginning of the tournament. Although we've been going for about an hour now. So he paired. He had a 9 draw. What do I do here? To either fold or 3-bet. I'm sure I decide. Yeah, I 3-bet this. I'll fold to a 4-bet though. I really want him to fold. That's exactly what happened. So I'm up to nearly 8,000. 508 out of 728. Okay, so I haven't made a fantastic start. See what I've obviously got a good draw here coming up. I could decide to 3-bet this actually. I don't think it would be terrible to do that, but obviously I don't. I think because it's multi-way as well, I'm quite happy, to try and make my big hand. Could make it as good as number 10 here. Number 10, number 12 I could make too. And the other one I think would be about number 15. I think 87642 would be number 15. So if I make 987, which is, that's a little bit dicey, that, isn't it? It's not quite what I was looking for. So I feel I can call this, knowing that I probably won't be good a lot, but I'll be good occasionally. And then he just shoves. So again, I have no real choice but to fold here. It smells like even with the 87, I'm really glad I didn't hit my 87 there, because then that would have been a really horrible situation for me. I think I would have been dead there quite often. So that would have been really difficult. Okay, it's down to barely half of what I started with here. I've got a 10-6. Pretty strong hand, but it can be a little bit awkward to play out of position as I'm going to be here. I'm going to be out of position here. Right, a 3-bet to about 3 times what his sort of very small raise was. He's thinking about it. He's thinking about. Maybe he's not. Maybe he's just multi-tabling. Takes it down and we check it down, and I had about two. I was going to win 2 out of 3 times there. He actually had pretty sure he had some sort of 8 draw there, and is that right? Yeah, he had an 8 draw. So I was, yeah, 67% there. So I had, yeah, 2-1 advantage there. Now, this is an interesting one. I've got a gut shot draw to a monster, of course. And Dalzini doesn't have a lot of chips left. If he 3-bet me, then I might call, I don't know. So I hit a 10. I hit a 10 myself. He draws 1. And we check it down, and it's like I could have bet there. It wouldn't have been bad to bet there, although if he'd raised, it would have been a little bit awkward with his stack size. So obviously I want to see what he actually had. That's what I do now. And he's got a draw to 8-7-6-5, which is just appalling to be playing a hand like that, to be calling with a hand like that. I mean, there are times when you can play it, like as a steal. So I had about 64%. If I hadn't had the gut shot, I would have had 69%. So I was a clear favourite there. That's why you don't want to play open enders. They're terrible. So I'm sort of talking about my equities here. I think they're kind of illustrative. So how much does an open ender hurt you? The other thing is you can't make, if you have 8-7-6-5, the best you can make is 8-7-6-5-2, which is number 17. 6-4-3-2 can make number 2, it can make number 6, it can make much stronger hands. So you could end up losing a whole stack there if you hit 2 with 8-7-6-5. If you hit the 3 or hit the 2. So I make 9-8-7. What do I decide to, how does this one play out? I can't remember. So I call, he folds, and I actually had the best hand, which was kind of interesting, and he just quickly went away. Dazzle Ralph just went away very quickly with that. I had a lot of rough 10s at the start of this tournament. Going for an hour and a quarter, got a 10-9-8-7-3. It's the third worst 10, and nobody calls me. Just going to walk there. Got a rough 10 draw now, which is not worth a whole lot. So I have climbed back up again, have I? 292nd out of 512. So the bottom half, and I managed to take that down as well. 300th out of 508. Got a bad jack here, Jack 10. Well, it's a good, as Jack 10 goes, it's a good Jack 10, but it's a Jack 10. Obvious raise here. And he goes all in there, right? I call, and he wins. He makes a monster. Not that he needed to make anything as big as that. And it turns out we were exactly flipping there. I mean, it depends. I mean, if he's so say it's if you give him 7-6-5-2, he could hit 3 sevens. He could hit. Sorry. So what am I saying? He could hit 4 3s, 3 4s. That's 7. He could hit an 8. That's 11. He could hit a 9. That's 15. So 4 outs there. He hit a 10. That's 18. He could have jack, 3 more outs there, 21. So he's got 21 outs, and there are 10 unseen. Well, I had 5 cards in my hand, he had 5 in his. So there are 42 cards that we don't know about. He had 21 outs, so we were exactly flipping, exactly 50-50. Jack is generally a slight favourite, but here we're flipping. I guess just because of the specifics of, he blocks some of the pair cards, like some of the cards that could pair him are in my hand and stuff like that. So, but a bad jack like this is often you're often flipping. Maybe you're slightly ahead here, absolutely exactly flipping, which is kind of interesting. It's not often you're an exact flip, is it? But flipping heck, that's where we are now, or where we were. Unfortunately, I didn't manage to get rid of him. He's still fighting there. This time, look what I've got. I've got number 2. once every 1,500 hands you get a hand this strong. That was an absolute, it's like a dream, and you really want. He's been getting involved a lot. He's not pat. He is pat. So I go for a small overbet here. I feel he's going to call this a lot, or even shove on me, but he doesn't. He just folds, which is a bit of a shame. Maybe I should have gone a little bit smaller to maybe induce something, but sadly that didn't work out. It's a bit of a bugger when you don't really. I mean, at least he called my raise pre-flop, but he just called and passive, which is kind of a bit crap. I mean, he calls now too. There's this guy, and he had an open-ended draw. That was just terrible again. Like, goes crazy. People go crazy when they have bounties. Now, what did I do here? This was kind of interesting. I think I misplayed this actually. I mean, what have I got to draw to? I've got to draw to just crap. Jack 9 8 6. And I can't make a straight there. That's the only saving grace. But it is an absolute crappy draw, and we end up going four-way. And he's got random. His hand is entirely random. So you draw one. So in a situation where I could make my hand quite easily and still, you draw two, you draw four, well, you're random. I hit an ace, so I'm very unlikely to actually win this. But he's got a pair of fours. I think he made two pair. You missed as well, and I end up winning, which was a massive surprise. So I'm getting another little bounty there. So I end up got some bounties. That's welcome. And I get a slight chip up there too. Yeah, he made two pair, and he made a pair of twos, which was just slightly worse than what I had. So yes, so I've got nothing to go with here under the gun, or really in any position. It's kind of interesting. Once in a very blue moon, you win with aces four-way. What I got here, awful cool. I think, yeah. It was on the previous hand of shove with the 7-6-5-4. Obviously, that hand he had to just go with it. This time I've actually got a pat jack. This is a bit awkward. Someone limps. What do you do here? You're forced to play the hand. Well, if nobody raises, you're forced. So I'm forced to play it. So I kind of have to raise. Yeah. What else could I do? I could draw one and pat. So I draw one and just check. I mean, so unfortunately I have no real choice but to do this. This is not much fun. And he draws two, which is welcome. Am I going to get shafted by the two-card draw here? Now, I actually win this one. So I think that's the highest stack size biggest stack I've had so far in the tournament. And I actually, the favourite was actually Dazzle Ralph with your one-card draw. You had something like 45% equity in that pot, which is the interesting thing, isn't it? That as a really bad pat hand, you get your equity takes a hammering with multiple people in there. So I'd have been a favourite or flipping against him. Soon as you with a third person in there, that he becomes the favourite. And this is something that happens in these draws. Like Badugi happens too, that the good draws benefit from having other draws in the pot too. They all benefit, whereas the pat hand suffers from having more people in there. So this guy, I think he was drawing to something like 952. He had about 18%. So he had 18%, he had about 45, and I had the remainder, about 37. So I still had more than my fair share of equity there. But also the problem is you can't really call a bet post. I mean, you've got right at the bottom of your range here. So you're not going to win a big pot with that. So it's a little bit awkward, that one. I mean, I was lucky to win that with my 37% equity, roughly. Nine draw, medium strength nine draw, I suppose. Three bets under the gun, so getting a price, so I basically have to call here. I hit that. Now, what do I decide to do? Um, I decide I'm going to either I check call. Or it's not really good enough to check raise. I almost bet, which I felt was the right, which should have been what I did. But I do mix this up sometimes, and I end up winning that one as well. I don't feel that was optimal. I probably should have bet there. Now my hand, so I don't know whether I'd have got him to call. Possibly would have called actually with whatever he had, the jack. Now I have to call here too. Can I make my hand again? Now we're going four-way. This time I hit my best card. I'm pretty sure I decided to go for a bet here, even though my hand is... So I had 9, 7, 5, 4, 3. So almost identical strength hand, this one. They all draw one. I decided to just mix it up a little bit by betting. And I feel like betting is the default play here. So and I win that too, right? So I get a call, and I'm up to 23,000. So I'm having a good run now. Here I've got a gut shot to a 7. So obviously going to raise this up. Don't raise very big. I go for, well, 2 3/4 times. Sort of fairly standard, but they both call. Don't know what to think about that. Is that good or is that bad? And he just pats. They both pat. Whoa! I miss. I don't feel it all just gets checked down. I mean, it's possible I could have got them to fold, but he was so short. That guy there was so short. It's about halfway down. I'm just in the bottom half. 259 out of 501. The 502. So it's still the late reg hasn't finished yet. People are still able to buy in at this point. We're going for getting on about an hour and 50 minutes. So I have one of the worst jacks you can have. Terrible hand. Although I will certainly raise it on the button. If someone, when you just limp in, I feel like I have to raise myself. I'm different, being moved. I've got a different table now. I get a lot of table moves in this tournament actually. So how much do I decide to raise to? Probably about 2,000, I'm guessing. I don't know what this other guy does in front of me. He just folds. I do go for exactly 2,000. Hmm. I'll go three-way, and I'm not looking. Well, it's not looking very good going three-way with a hand like this. 1, 2. It's always good when you see them draw 2. Check, check, and I obviously check it back. I actually have the best hand there. So actually, some of my crappy pat hands have held up. Now this is a difference on a different level entirely. 98. Again, I just go for the same size raise. I don't want to be raising any more, any less, just because I've got a much better hand. Keep it the same. You don't want to telegraph your hand by your bet sizing. That'd be terrible. He draws 2, so I must. If he doesn't bet, I must bet this myself. Anything else I think would be crazy. Decided to go for the small bet though. Interesting if he shoved. I probably would have had to have folded. So he just folds there. Another convertible hand here. So raise smaller because there isn't a limper involved. And I'm also have a fairly reasonable position, but then Black Hawk calls me. And what do I decide to do? He pats, so I'm pretty sure I have to draw 1 there. I hit a queen, which is a bit of a bugger. The only way to play that was to draw. And I was actually drawing dead. He had the 8, had an 8-7. He had an absolute monster hand there. Imagine going all in with that. Now look at me, number 8. Ooh, this is huge, huge hand. I'd love it if Valera gets it all in now. So I have to bet here. He's drawn 2. If he shoves, I have to call. My hand's that good. He folds. Oh, okay. I decide to raise this up. I think it's good enough under the gun. The ante's there and everything. Draws 2. What does Scott do? Draws 1. I draw 1. And this time I pair my 8. So I could decide to bluff that, and I do. I think I'd have bluffed if I'd hit the 5 or the 8. It's not a very, I don't bet very big. Make it look like it's kind of value-ish. Unfortunately, I get called by a king, which is really interesting that he called me with king queen there after drawing 2. It's drawing 2 to 985, so he was drawing to complete shit. But he still called my raise pre-flop. That's amazing, really. Hand's that bad. 985 is just garbage. So, yeah, it didn't quite work out for me. But nothing wrong with attempting a bluff there, I don't think. This is horrible again. I got to decide to draw 2 here after you pat. Like make a queen. Such a weird play from you, Scott, in the small blind. He calls. Oh, got a number 8, right? So not number 8, an 8, a rough 8. I think it might be number 15. Big hand here. Go 2.7 times. Draws 2, then draws 4. Would you believe it? He calls my raise and draws 4, which is sheer insanity. I'm sure I go for the bet here. And it just gets folded. It's about halfway down the list now. So, sort of managed to keep pace a little bit. So I'm not making a very good start. Just to kind of run sort of okay. Run into any huge hands that have been monstered by a huge hand. I'm going for just over 2 hours now. 10-minute level, so there's a bit of play in this tournament. And you have no idea what you're doing. I was a bit frustrated that I couldn't benefit from that. Just didn't have the hand to be able to do that. So Black Hawk was 66,000. And I mark this guy as DKR because that means doesn't know the rules. There's no idea. So you're definitely finding people like that in this tournament too. So you want to be able to take advantage of them. But you sort of need a bit of a hand because you know if you're in with a third person, even if the third person could beat you, then you're in a right mess. I think here under the gun. What's going on now? Got a really bad jack here in the big blind. I don't know what I decide to do here, actually. I actually can't remember what I decided to do. I think I decided to call and draw 1. I don't know whether that was the right thing to do. Maybe I should have just folded. So I make my 987. Now, is this the number? This is interesting. My landlord asked me for my meter reading, and I'm pretty sure it was 29873, which is the same as this hand, which is kind of funny. It's funny, I remember when I had a job working in insurance, and we had these 5-digit codes all the time. I used to see deuce to seven hands in those codes all the damn time. And sometimes I'd even see like the code that I had to enter might be 53864, and I would I'd write it in as 86543. And I couldn't understand why I couldn't pick up the right company or whatever it was. And I realized I couldn't just enter them in descending order because that's how I was thinking of that number. That's when I was playing Deuce to Seven cash, like single draw cash back then. It was a long time ago now. So, by the way, this hand, I'm trying to work out what number it is. I know there are 52 nines, and I have the best 987. So how many 987s are there? There are nine, right? So there are five other cards, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. You have two of them. There are 10 ways of ordering of choosing two out of five. So you could have 3, 2, 4, 2, 5, 4, 3, 5, 2, 5, 3, 6, 2, 6, 3, 6, 4. You can't have 6, 5 because that makes a straight. So that's nine. I'm just counting them. I think I'm counting them on my fingers. 3, 2, 4, 2, 4, 3, 5, 2, 5, 3, 5, 4, 6, 2, 6, 3, and 6, 4. That's right. There are nine. I think that's right. And that. So if I take 8 off the 52, that's 44. So this is the 44th best hand. Big interlude there, but I've got number 44. You don't need to know that, but it gives you an idea. So number 22 would kind of be twice as good as this, which would be a really good 9. So 9-6 is about twice as far up the hierarchy. Well, this is twice as far down the hierarchy as a 9-6 would be. So people think, well, 98, 96 is not a huge difference. Like the difference between like a 7 and a 96 would be massive. But actually the difference between 96 and this is about the same. You do still beat some 98s. There are 8 of them that are actually even worse than this. Anyway, but we're going 5-way here, which is horrible. But the betting is so small, I don't think I can fold. Maybe I could raise there. That would be interesting to check raise with a hand like that. Probably would have got it through too. But you just don't trust people. People min bet all sorts of stuff like sevens and things. So yeah, unfortunately that was a bug. And I felt like maybe I should have just folded pre there with that such a rough draw. I guess just being results oriented there. I didn't get beaten by much. Not enough. So just a little bit of ground there. 303 out of 465, about 2/3 of the way down now. So I haven't been near the top at any point. I've sort of been just sort of bumbling along a bit in this tournament. A lot of bumbling here. Lots and lots of bumbling. Big raise there from Sergo. Basically putting, well, he is putting Maria all in here. What does Maria decide to do? Oh, he calls. Wow. Oh, 10-8. I felt they really needed to fold there. I remember at the time thinking that needed to be a fold. And they were both pat, right? I don't know what the hell he was doing, just calling the raise initially. That was so weird. So I have a 9-8-7 draw here. Bad draw, but I'm in the big blind. It's kind of hard being in the big blind with a hand pot like this. So I'm pretty sure I get some more money here. Can you hear that ambulance? I bet you can. And I make the same hand again. That's been today. It's been the hand of the day. 9-8-7-3-2. And I actually, oh, that was good. Let's just go back a little bit here. So I hit my hand. How many did he draw? Oh, he draws 2. So I've got an obvious bet here. I have to bet. I was thinking it's not an obvious bet here if he draws 1. You could bet it though. I think I might have done because I think he's pretty cool, happy, this guy. So now I've got to draw to a strong 10, but it's only a 10. Don't want to go to war here. I just call, which is a little bit weak, isn't it? Gosh. I'll make my 10. And what do I decide to do? Do I decide to bet this? You go either way with this. I decide to bet. Black Hawk calls me, and he has the bet. He has that hand again, 98732. We can't get away from that hand. I just, it's everywhere. Even my meter showed that hand today. It's just, I mean, so anyway, I've got a pretty good draw here, much better than what I've been dealing with of late. Can make as good as number 6. So I've got to get some money in here. 2333. It's not a big raise considering there's a limper in there. Draws 2. I draw 1, and I make number 9. Very happy, and so all these people drawing 2. This is one reason why you make your money. It's one way to make your money is by from people drawing 2. People draw 2 way too often, and now up to 30,000 for the first time, I think. And I've got a good draw here too. I can make as good as number 10. And people draw 2 way too often because you're just not going to hit that often. And okay, sometimes you'll hit an absolute monster. But if you're playing against somebody disciplined enough to fold, recognizing that the 2-card draws do hit from time to time, you don't often get them paid off. Depends, like against me, I mean, I recognize the 2-card draws hit often enough that you need to be wary that someone could hit a monster. This time I completely brick. Let's see what happens here. So Maria bought in again immediately after busting out. It's already too late to be doing that. But I think now late reg has finished. He busted 30 seconds. So he bought in about 30 seconds before late reg finished. So I'm pretty sure I just checked this back. There's no point in betting something like this. What does Black Hawk do? Bets just over half the pot. I happily give this up. And yeah, he takes it down. It's got 76,000. He's had a fantastic start. In the top half of the league, just about. Got plenty to raise this. Plenty to raise with here. Go 3-way, not quite what I was looking for. Hit though, I definitely hit. Not fantastic, but it's good. Bet relatively small, just over half the pot. If I get raised all in here, I probably have to fold. He folds, okay, so it looks like he's just completely messed. He's just drawing far too often. And 987 is just a bit too weak from under the gun. And don't think that because Sergo's got a good stack that means he's a good player. I think that's a common mistake. Now I've got an interesting hand. I've got a I could just raise. I could raise here. It's probably what I should do. I mean, you could even fold here occasionally. I'd look to a nearly raise. Trouble is, I've got a gut shot, and that hampers the draw. And also, you're not going to be able to make an absolute monster. I mean, 87642 is what, number 14? Now, I'm quite happy that he's gone all in. So the pot's big, or pretty big, 12,000. Got three to call. Going to have the odds to call here. I just hope I hit really a 3 or a 2. Oh, and I hit a 2. This is fantastic. So obviously just bet out here. And I win. So I get his bounty, and he actually has a bit of a bounty there, right? So I get $1.88 added to my in my pocket, which is it's not a lot, but it's not nothing. And so it's only a $3.30 buy-in tournament, right? So there we were going 3-way, right? So um, I think, I mean, I was an underdog to what he had. I was about a 2-1 underdog there. Uh, but with the third player in the hand, still had about 30% equity. So my equity didn't really go down very much from having a third player in the hand, because it really does. So by the third player being in there, Fashmo only had about 38%. And if you give Sergo the same hand as me, we obviously had the same equity. We'd have had 31% each. He would have had 38. So I had, plenty of equity to get involved there. Just the question is whether I should have just three bet pre. Um, I don't think it would have worked out very well if I'd done that, but that might have actually been the better play. So on we go. Now I've got a jack with a bad draw underneath it. So I had to bet to raise it to just over 3 times. Get called, which I'm not liking at all. Can't really draw here. 9-7 is just with the gut shots. It's not good enough to draw to. So I have to kind of hold on to this. If anybody re-raises, I'm out of here. And we go full way, which is just awful. It's awful, awful, awful having to go full way with a hand like this. Last thing I wanted. Maybe I should have raised bigger pre. That would have made a bit more sense. He's drawing two again. He just loves his two-card draws. He just can't help himself. Okay, so all in. What does Blackhawk do? Folds. Right. Oh, so I've got a 98 in the small blind here. So I also need to get some money in here. Ooh, how much shall I go to? 4555. Okay. He calls as well. It's amazing what he calls with, isn't it? Draws two, and I bet. I'm pretty sure I do, and hope he doesn't hit. I guess if he raises me, that's a really horrible spot. Maybe I'd have to call. I just don't know. That would have been horrible if it raised. It would be like a puke situation if it raised there. And of course, they do hit sometimes. Maybe I could have folded there actually. It would be really horrible though. Okay, so I've got a gut shot to a really big hand. So get a little bit of money in here. Just go 3 times. And you fold. That's really weird. That's kind of very fishy what Scott did there. Limp in and then fold to my raise, or he was getting a price there. Oh, and I hit number two. Wow. You draw two, right? You call with a two-card draw. Wow. So what do I decide to do here? I think I just shove on him. So often when people bet at all, they can't get away. Whoa. So can I get value? Can I get max value here? Are you going to call? Are you going to call off your whole stack? Yes, you are. I was just hoping he'd hit enough there, but I mean, obviously he shouldn't be calling there, but he could think that I'm bluffing because he drew two, so I'll be playing very aggressively. Wow, that was wonderful actually. I was really happy with that one. And I wasn't a huge favourite there, funnily enough. I was probably about, because of the gut shot that I had, so that compromised me. I was about 58%, just under 60% there, um, just because I had the gut shot. So obviously to hit that was fantastic. 9643. So I'm in 65th place now. So I have really moved up the standings quite a bit. I hit a jack, which is very difficult. I'm pretty sure I just checked this, and what does he do? Draws two, checks it, so I actually win with that. Okay, not good enough, I don't think, to bet there. I mean, you could, but 279 out of 1,322 started. So yeah, roughly 1 in 5. 1 in 5 remain of those who started. That's not quite accurate because a lot of rebuys as well. So 989 and then 333 rebuys. Whoa. Got a big draw here. I'm going to almost certainly play it as a draw instead of as a jack, as a pat jack, especially out of position here. So I could make number 5, could make number 7. Um, I don't make anything as strong as that. Make a 10-8. So get out of the way now. Oh, you make number 5. Wow. It's one of those things. Oh, you're just so glad I didn't hit like number 7, say. Now here's a big hand. I get a call, which is great, and he doesn't discard. So what do I decide to do here? Could put him all in. I don't know whether he'd call me though. So I'm pretty sure I decide to bet a lot less, and he folds, unfortunately. And who knows, maybe if I'd shoved, he would have called. It's a little bit awkward here. Got a in the big blind with a 10-8. He just immediately folds there. So that was good. 10-9. Decide to get some money in here. Maybe I should have been suspicious about the min raise. That could be a monster. Sometimes that's a huge hand. If he goes all in, I probably have to fold now. Oh, whoa. This is what happens, right? He goes all in, and I just fold. I just don't think I'm going to be good here very often. So I felt like I need to be suspicious of that min raise. I should have been more suspicious of it. Don't know what the right play there is somehow. 9, 7, 6, 3, 2. Raised to about so less than 3 times. Draws 1. I obviously pat. I call him and actually have the best hand. Well, that's. I mean, he was a bit unlucky there because in that configuration, um, my range is very wide there. So for me to actually have a 9, 9, 7, a hand that beat what he made, I think his bet was probably quite good. Could even have gone a bit bigger. I don't know. Um, and and obviously I happen to have a big hand there. So I was a bit lucky there really. Um, and although yeah, I mean with such a big hand, I was a big favourite against his draw though. I was something like think it's a 3-1 favourite, something along those lines. So, you know, a pat nine is a big favourite. You are talking about at least 3-1 against a drawing hand. Do you have a 2-card draw here? If it limps around, or it certainly doesn't limp around, just give this one up. Yeah, look at the size of this raise, right? Monster raise. Using his big stack to his advantage here, or trying to at least. Pretty sure they both have to fold here. If he mega pot, unless he's doing something really crazy, he needs to fold here. I don't know why he's taking any more than 2 seconds. Anything that he's going to flat there, how could he call with it unless he's slow playing something? Yep, and finally folds. 10 draw in the small blind. What have I got? Obviously raise this up. No hesitation. I get called. Make 10-8. Make a skip straight 10-6-5, 10-8-6-4-2. What does he do here? A call. When I win. Ooh, that's a little bit surprising, but yeah, interesting one that. So I've got a convertible hand here. I could raise, but I decide to just call. It's quite a big raise. It's gone to 4 times, right? So I decide to just call. I'm going to draw. If he'd got it all in, I would have called. He doesn't discard. And I hit that, right? Whew. Number 14, I think it is. About 13,000. Unlaughed, doesn't take the bait there. So I should take that one down. Suddenly I've got 103,000. I wonder how that ever happened. I'm in good position now. So you see a 29th place out of 205. So suddenly I'm thinking, ooh, I'm in a nice spot now. Chipped up really well. I've got quite a big stack. I can, really work with it. Just need to keep that big stack, right? Mustn't let it get away. So don't want to be playing 10-7 draws under the gun in this scenario, this situation. Let that go. Oh, whoa. So queen ends up beating the other queen. And I've got bad draws. We've got draws to a 2-card draw to a 9. So fold. This guy, Padalonatos, is very aggressive. He's raising, 3-betting. Well, not so much 3-betting. He's raising over limps, or he's just open raising really big, like 5, 6, 7 times. So it's kind of making it a little bit awkward to play against. And got a big stack too, right? Yeah, see, but this time he raises a lot smaller, despite there being a limper there. So it does set off alarm bells for me immediately. Then he draws 2. So it's like, what the hell is he doing? So there's, oh yeah, whoa, okay, 8-7-5, big hand. Jack 10, raise this up in this position. I decide to draw. When he pats in front of me, this is where being in position really helps. So he just decided to call pat, and then I felt there was actually a fairly clear break there. I mean, Jack 10 is just not going to beat many of his pat hands at all unless he happens to have a worse Jack 10. It's more likely than that I'll hit a 10 that will be good if I draw, if I break the jack, break off the jack. So there are times where you can actually break a weak pat hand to draw to a pat hand that's actually not very strong, simply because it still might beat what he has. That was the case there. Uh, and obviously I was an underdog there, but not, I mean, I wasn't an enormous underdog. It was 57 to 43 is what I calculated or worked it out as, or you know, I had a little app that told me these figures, and I made it about 43% that I had with the draw, which was definitely the right play. Into six figures again, very briefly. And he actually had a Jack nine, so I did break a worse hand than that, only just, but yeah, would have had zero if I'd hung on to it. You see, you don't necessarily know that, and well, it's now break time, and I think I might just end this video for now, and I'll put up another part very shortly. You can see how I progress. At the moment I'm in 37th place out of 183. I don't know how accurate that is. Something's a bit out of date, but I'm certainly chugging along, doing quite nicely. See how this all transpires, how this all plays out in the next part of this video. Till then, I'll see you, and I hope you found that enjoyable. Stay tuned for part 2.